Hello AIESEC for Poland. I'm Aga, your host, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Leadership Stories podcast. Today my guest is amazing Ola Talaga. She was a part of national team of AIESEC for Poland in term 15-16, so a bit long time ago, but what we actually focused on during this conversation was her exchange experience. So when she went on the global volunteer program with AIESEC. And we mentioned all of the struggles that she had, all of the challenges, and all of the things that she enjoyed in this experience. And by this conversation, I really would like to invite you to think about the quality of our exchanges. What are we actually delivering to the people that we are sending or that we are receiving from abroad? And if you never did exchange in your life yet, it will be a really cool experience, I think, for you to hear about all of those things that EP is about to go through. So during this quarantine time when operations are stopped, you can use it actually to upgrade all of our services as an organization. And maybe you can also think about going on exchange yourself afterwards. So enjoy the episode. Hello, Ola.
Hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here.
So first of all, I wanted to ask you, what was your experience in AIESEC? If you can briefly tell us.
I will try to be brief because it's been a long time I spent in the organization. So it all started in 2012 when I was the first year of university in University of Economics in Katowice. I joined AIESEC as a member of outgoing exchange team. And after doing a couple of exchanges and sending a couple of volunteers abroad, after 2 months, I became a leader. I was kind of rushed into organizing a conference for 2 local committees of Wrocław, UI and Katowice. So I had my team, and at the same time, I was already preparing for taking over a project as a team leader for it was called Global Citizen, which is Global Volunteer now. So outgoing Global Volunteer project. It was a bit of experimental project, I would say, because we were the ones introducing new brand for it. And also my team was not like a usual team that it used to be of a couple of people, but my team consisted of 12 people. I had 3 vice team leader, or like we called it OCVP. So that was it. And afterwards, because that was a little bit, let's say, off-peak, I became a coordinator because still it was not a time for having a application open for the EB, so I was a coordinator of outgoing exchange. So I was improving processes itself and like making sure that everything like goes smoothly in terms of exchange management in my committee. And afterwards, and that's just half of it. Afterwards, I decided to apply for executive board, and in 14-15 term, I was LSTVP, so local committee vice president of outgoing global internship program, which is Global Talent now. So that's been great. I loved my EB. After this experience, I was a part of MC PRYZMAT in 15-16. And then I've decided to apply for another MC term. So I was a part of MC in Italy in 16-17 term. I was MCVP oGIP as well. So I did 2 terms as outgoing exchange person. And at the end, before finishing my AIESEC experience, I applied for the 3rd MC. So I was a part of member committee in the United States in 17-18 term, and I was taking care of talent management there. So after my MC in the United States, I did my exchange in Panama, and I was supposed to teach English to the kids there. And what happened actually, and what resulted to be my work, it was a bit different, although it was I would say the most challenging experience I've had in terms of AIESEC. So that's been it. And now I'm not in AIESEC anymore, although I'm happy to be back and to still keep in touch and stay with people connected, because I think it's also really important, and the whole experience it's been an important part of my life. So I'm happy I can talk about it as well.
Some of you may realize that this voice sounds familiar for you. Ola was your chair on the Spark conference, so maybe you also remember her from this experience. Yeah,
that's been a lot of fun. I had a blast there. I'm so happy I could meet you guys. So maybe some of you remember me as well.
I wanted to step a bit in our conversation on the experience that you had on your exchange in Panama. If you could tell us briefly, like, what was it like to finally feel as an EP, and what it...
So maybe I will start with the beginning on why have I decided to go on exchange. So after so many years in AIESEC, honestly doing exchange for most of my experience in the organization, I've never actually understood it completely because I never went on exchange before, and not only with AIESEC but also not through any other organization. And as I was very confused with life when I finished AIESEC, because once you are in the organization, everything is so intense. Like there's been conferences, people, new people, old people, roll calls. I don't know. There's just a lot of things happening all the time, and you're so into it. At least I was super engaged. I was super passionate and committed to it. I've had a great time. Now you are about to finish, and what next? Like, what do I want to do in who I want to be? Like, is there a life after AIESEC? What's gonna happen? So I thought that also, like, contributing a little bit more to the AIESEC word itself, it's just simply going to exchange and having this contribution I always talked about in the organization. So with that, I wanted to go to a country somewhere, and I thought that's the only thing I could actually do. It's doing some culture workshops or some like teaching. As I mentioned, AIESEC has been very intense, so you meet a lot of people. I kind of wanted to go to a place that I don't know anyone. That's gonna be very different from because AIESEC became also a very comfortable place for me. Like I knew everyone, like I've been traveling a lot, so I've decided to go to Panama, and I applied only for one offer, and I already got I got accepted for one offer. So for me, it was, I don't know, it was meant to be, honestly. Like I didn't have any difficulties in like applying, looking for it. It was just like I saw this offer, and I was like, that's it. I messaged the people and I asked them, hey, I'm a person from AIESEC. I want to do exchange, although I don't speak Spanish that much or like at all. Is it a problem? And they told me, no, you can get it. It's fine. It's 1 month till the exchange. It was September 2018. It was 18, yes. I was like, okay, fine. Then I'm going. I will do amazing things. I've always liked working with kids. So great, awesome. And they were nice. They never really like communicated any details, but I was like, I've been traveling for such a long time. Like it's gonna be so easy just to go there and like to do the impact, you know. I was like so into the impact part of it. So I started learning a language, and then I just went to Panama simply. And now it's actually what your question is about. So how was the experience and what happened? What happened is that I arrived there, and then everything what I thought about exchanges, what I thought I'm prepared for, like nothing was I wanted it to be. Like I was prepared for nothing, honestly. And that was, I think, one thing that I took out of this exchange, like I've learned the most. It's like you cannot ever be prepared for what's going to happen, and you need to be prepared for changes. Prepared with your attitude that things are not as you think they are, and they might change very quickly. Because when I arrived to Panama, some random people picked me up, not even like my EP buddy or anyone. They just picked me up. They all spoke Spanish. No one spoke English there. And with me just learning for 1 month a new language, and after 20 hours of traveling, I was not really even understanding, that Ola means hi, because it's just my name, no? So and then they put me in the house of some random people, and there was no teenagers there, or like no people my age. There were just like one woman that she was nice, but I had no idea who she is, or like, is she like a mom of someone from AIESEC, or like who lives here? Like, where's everyone? And what I'm supposed, like, when do I start? Like, I had no details, anything. So I just went to sleep, and I woke up next day with, this new energy. I slept for like, I believe, I don't know, 16 hours. I woke up and I went to meet the people I'm living with, like to understand who they are is like, do they know, like, am I being kidnapped right now, or it's just like a part, like what's happening? So I entered the kitchen and I saw there's a dog, and I was so happy about this. If you don't connect with people because of like language barrier or something, you always can connect with animals, or at least most of people, at least I do. I love animals and I love dogs. So I was like, great, let me pet this dog. And then the dog bite me. And that was something very bad, because I had no idea then, well, like, what should I do now? Like, how to say I need help, like how to ask if they can drive me to a hospital. So I decided to ignore it. And I was like, they asked me if I'm fine or so. I was like, no, I'm fine. There's a little bit of blood, but it's okay. I'm going to survive. So that was the first thing, that because of the language barrier and communication barrier, I couldn't even ask for help. And that was like my, again, motivation, that sometimes it's like you have to learn how to communicate with people or something, because there are problems and they're not, let's say, easy fix for it or anything. But then afterwards I met these people. They were actually parents of a person from AIESEC. None of them spoke English. That was, I think, the biggest challenge for me in exchange, that although I thought that I was so great in communicating with people, because I mean, I was in AIESEC for so many years. I delivered so many workshops, conferences. I've been coaching people. I don't know. I've been leading projects, and now I cannot even ask, you know, for simple things like, where's the bathroom? I had no idea. That was a double motivation for me to like push through it. And then there's been a lot of worse things that happened, that like, I got lost, I lost my money, I lost my wallet, I've been stopped by a police, and I didn't know that I had to have my passport with me all over the place. I got sick, I got a flu, which I thought it's like because of the dog bit me, and now I'm dying in a foreign country. I was not prepared for the climate there. I knew that I'm going to a tropical country, although I've been to many countries like that before. So I thought I'm gonna be fine with the fact that it's, you know, super hot in there and humid and it's just raining every day. But I was like not prepared for it at all. So there's been like those small things that made me understand that I am not what I think I am. Like, I'm not ready for everything that comes in life. Like, there's gonna be difficulties always, and I just have to go through it, and I will never be prepared fully for it. So that's another thing I think I could learn. And then issue is my exchange itself. I went there to, you know, help kids that were from difficult environments. They were so underprivileged environment, like in a way that many of them, they didn't have full families.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them couldn't afford schools. Many of them couldn't, you know, get proper clothes or part of a foundation that was working in a way that after school, these kids that couldn't come back home because there was no parents or no one could take care of them, they would go to this foundation and spend time there to do their homework, to just hang out. Sometimes there were some activities organized. It was like a religious organization that's been helping these kids to just honestly pass their times. And I was the only volunteer there, which I didn't expect, because I thought I'm going to be, you know, with a group of people, we're going to have a project, and I'm going to be teaching English, and someone's going to be teaching music. And that was only me, and full of kids in the age from 1 year old till 18-year-old, which is, you know, very diverse group. And you cannot really organize, you know, entertainment to make sure that your 2-year-old and your 11-year-old gets enough attention and care and everything. And the fact that also I couldn't really understand the expectations of the director of this foundation, because he also didn't speak any English. That's why I was confused for half of my exchange there. Like, I had no idea what I'm doing there. So I would just go there and I would just spend time with kids, and just spending time with them, like trying to communicate. Actually, the kids, I think they taught me Spanish the most. They would translate what I would say in Spanish, in my Spanish, towards Panamanian Spanish. And now, like, we could understand. Adults, no one could get what I'm trying to communicate. I wouldn't understand anyone. With kids was great. Like I don't know how it's possible that you always can somehow connect with them. So I was supposed to teach them English, right? But then how can you teach someone when you don't really speak their language? And then with the age difference is much, like, so big, because I mean I had 6 years old and I had 15 years old, and I had like very diverse and very different groups. Some of them were very polite, very nice. Some of them were never taught how to be polite or nice, so they would not even like talk to me, or they would not even want to take part in anything. So that was like a one signal that how do I manage the situation now, right? Like I was supposed to go to a country where I would like just deliver impactful experience to people, like change their life completely. I would be so great, you know, like I would make a difference. And then I was not feeling like I'm making any difference, because I couldn't even like do one class fully be sure that I'm actually making something good. And I messaged AIESECers, and they told me, now it's your time, Ola, to be solution oriented. I mean, we're not going to help you. They didn't say explicitly they're not going to help me, but they told me like, we don't have an answer, or like we don't have a solution for you, but it's your time to embrace it. It's your time to like develop those leadership skills we talk about in AIESEC and stuff. And I'm like, are you really kidding me? I'm like, for 2 weeks going to a foundation with no clue on what's happening around me. I don't understand anything. Like there's been some like workshops, some like weird like teachers changing every day. There's been some kids that are also new kids coming every day. And sometimes the foundation I would go and no one would tell me that there's a public holiday. And in November they have like 10 days of public holidays, which I had no idea, because they got independent from so many countries. They just have so many independent days. So I would just go, and then the foundation is closed. And I was traveling almost an hour every day with a bus to arrive there, to be there on time, and then to come back. And then Panama, it's a city with a huge traffic there. So, and then I would just like stand there for 1 hour with no one to talk to, and so on. So it's been a bit challenging, and I did not expect AIESEC to not support me in any way. I'm sharing it because I think it's important also for everyone to know, like, maybe what exchange participants would expect. Like, I remember they would organize those leadership kind of workshops, or however you call it. Every week we would meet with me, some AIESECers, and another volunteer that she was Mexican, working for another foundation, like a PR agency or something. And I remember they asked me at the beginning, like, is that fine if, like, do you understand Spanish? And I said, like, a little bit, yes. And they're like, okay, great, because I mean, most of us, we don't speak English, so it's better to do it in Spanish. I was like, but I don't like fully understand it to, talk about leadership, or like, we would talk about difficult things that happen in Panama and how we can solve it, and like the impact, whatever. And I'm like, I don't really get it, but sometimes you have to cope with it, right? So what actually happened when I was so frustrated with like being satisfied, I'm only there for 6 weeks. It's 6 weeks. It's not a long time. It's just 6 weeks. It goes fast so quickly because there's been so many things happening. Like, you find yourself in a new environment, new culture, new people, new experience, like everything is new. So once you adapt to it, you're already gone. So after a couple of, I think it was 2 weeks, I just wrote down all the things I don't like about working in the foundation. Google translated it to Spanish, and I went to the director of the foundation, and I sat in front of him with this paper, and I just told him, like, I don't like this, and I think we should do something about it. And he's a great person, and he got really worried about it because he really also wanted me to have a good experience, and he wanted me to I also wanted to contribute, and he wanted me to contribute, because I mean, it doesn't make sense for me just to go there every day and just sit there and hang out with kids, which I mean is cool as well, because we could talk. I would show them videos about Poland. They would like ask me, I would show them coins that we have in Poland, and they're like, wow, it's so far away, you have different language, it's so nice. But then we actually realized that it's great to hang out with kids, so I'm going to do it for some part of my time in the foundation. But then for 2 hours every day, I would spend time with the older kids. So the ones that are from, I think, 12 years old up. And we would actually have some, workshops, not even about English. It wasn't about English. It was more about even like communication. We would like draw together. We would just focus on like their dreams or like families. What do they want to do? Like things like this, to have a little bit of English there, but to just spend organized nice time and to learn something together, like as a group. And I think it turned out to be good. At least I'm proud of that, because I think that at the end I got really connected to them. I think I learned a lot from these kids and from the foundation itself, and I've learned a lot about them and like different problems that are happening that I was not aware of that much. I don't think I like helped anyone or like I contributed that much, but they for sure impacted me in a really huge way. I was expecting to go to Panama to have this, like to impact so many lives and be great. And it turned out to be experience that changed me the most, which I was not expecting. But overall, I was 100%.
I really like your story because it shows all of the mankements and all of the things that can go wrong, but like in the end it shows that like still the leadership will be developed inside of this EP, even though some things may go wrong. But what I would like to focus on the other question is those things that are going wrong, because in AIESEC, we say that we are striving for excellence and that we want to deliver the best experiences for our volunteers. And for sure, this example was not like the one of the most amazing experiences for the EP delivered by AIESECers, as you said. So I wanted to ask you, because during this time, we have more time to like rethink on what we actually are delivering to the people. What from this story AIESECers can take and like implement in their daily job, delivering those experiences for EPs? So like, what could we more focus on?
I think that I would start with the fact that all the logistical kind of things, they were great. Like I had a pickup from the airport, me going alone to a country in another continent, it's not like the safest experience for anyone or like wherever you would go, anywhere. Like if you don't know the country, you would like to get support there. So I had people, they picked me up from the airport. I had a great host family. I love them. We still are in touch. My host family is amazing, and they took care of me. They provided me with all the necessary things. So I had like food, and I had a house. Honestly, I had like a family for 6 weeks. So that's been amazing, and I think that without that, I don't think if I would manage, to be honest, because if I didn't have like a proper place to sleep, or I didn't have, I would be worried about some simple things like food or like how to get to a place. If anything happened, my host family, they would help me with anything. Like when I got lost and I lost my wallet and I couldn't contact anyone and I had even no address, they would like the police would contact them because everyone knew them apparently, and they would just pick me up. It's just this one thing. I was very grateful towards AIESEC that they organized a great host family for me, and without that I would not make. So I think the logistical part, because of the fact it was organized, helped me a lot to face other challenges that I don't think could be solved by AIESEC. Like the fact that I couldn't speak Spanish, I mean, they couldn't change it. They cannot teach me, or they cannot tell me like what to do. Like I had to figure out in terms of the foundation. And I actually think this response that they told me about, now you have to be solution oriented, I think they were right, honestly. Like how I'm thinking like how they could help me. Like they organized everything for me, and it was my turn to manage the situation and to learn, and they took care of my proper attitude towards it. They were supportive, so I know I could contact them even though they wouldn't provide me with a solution. So that's another point I would like to focus on besides the logistic. It's like this support that, I mean, as people, we cannot like help everyone out. Like we don't know how to solve the problems of everyone, but we can at least be there for these people. Like if we can hear them out, we can share our opinion with them, like as people organizing this experience. So I appreciated that they always had time for me, and they would at least hear me out. I felt safe. So for sure this part as well. I think one more thing, it would be to be more explicit in terms of what the exchange, or like what's your role on exchange would be as an exchange participant. I had no idea what the job is about. Like I went there and I knew I'm gonna be working for like some foundation, but I had no information about like what's expected from me there, like if I should prepare something, like I know, like PowerPoint, whatever presentation, like materials. Is there gonna be a printer? You know, like those things that you are supposed to deliver something, like to contribute to conduct workshops, to work. And I had no idea. It was just, I think I would need a little bit more explanation on what is, maybe not explanation what exactly is gonna happen because things change, but like explanation on what is expected from me so I can prepare for that. Because I think I didn't prepare anything before coming to Panama. Like I had nothing. And if not for my experience before, when I did some workshops, I think I wouldn't manage to provide anything for these kids, because how would I know even like how to organize a workshop or a lesson or something like this, right? Mm-hmm. I think I would start also with getting to know your EP. Like if you're an outgoing exchange or incoming exchange person, get to know your EP before this person goes on exchange, because there are some people who would need more help understanding. Like for some of them, you know, on exchange, everyone can go on exchange. Like, let's say not everyone, but many people, but from different backgrounds. There are some people who are like AIESECers like me after 6 years of being in a field, let's say, and so it wasn't maybe that big of a, like, I think I had a proper attitude in order to react towards challenges and so on. If that would be me on my first year of university going on the same exchange, I don't think I would be able to handle that. Like, honestly, I think I would quit. And it's no one's fault, of course, but it's just, I think if AIESECers would get to know me and my, like who I am, they could support me better. Like they could, if they saw like, okay, this person does not know anything about, has never been abroad, because there are people like that. If you know this information, you can prepare more this person for like culture shocks, or the fact that even if you're going from Poland to, I don't know, Czech Republic, there's gonna be a culture shock. So maybe this getting to know your exchange participant, I would start with that.
Yeah, I totally get what you said about this challenging the EP, because we cannot go everywhere with this person and help him or her with everything. And like, to be honest, I very often saw this kind of like extreme attitudes towards EPs. Like one people would tell them that I don't care and like would not help them at all, and another people will like go with them everywhere and help them with like very small details, and then in the end they didn't learn anything, so it doesn't make any sense.
I think as exactly as you're saying, I don't think there's a perfect solution, like a perfect recipe. Like if you have an EP, this is exactly what you have to do to provide the best experience, because everyone is different and everyone goes through different stuff. Environments change, different factors, they're changing all the time. So you cannot really prepare, or you cannot get anyone prepared for this kind of experience. But starting from getting to know exactly what this project is about and providing basic logistical things set, and getting to know your exchange participant, both from outgoing exchange and incoming exchange sites, so you at least can get an idea how to support this person, if this person would require more support, less support, or what kind of support even, because it's also not about like providing everything for this person, because if it's not also challenging, then how this person would learn something, right? So it's, as you said, it's not about like holding someone's hand for all the time and like, this is where you go, this is what you do. It's not about that as well. It's about finding this balance, I would say.
I ask you questions because right now we have like actually the time to stop and think like about what we are delivering to our exchange participants. So like to all of you that are listening us right now, guys, those testimonials that you are now collecting are something more than just a form. It should be like a deep conversation with an EP, and it's really good to ask people for feedback, because then we can upgrade something, then we can actually think about how we can deliver the impact to the people, because it's really good that someone was challenged, but in the end we are saying also about the fact that we are delivering the impact, and the contact with partners is also really, really important. Yeah, so like from my perspective, as like from past year when I was LCP, we were also thinking how to upgrade this quality of exchange, not giving every EP like a helping hand all the time. And this is like very simple recipe for it, guys. There is something like exchange standards right there, and everything is written there simply, like what you should like deliver to this person and what you should not. So this is very, very simple, but very often we forget about it, that we should pick them up, but we shouldn't go with them everywhere. Maybe they should try to explore the city on their own. And also about talking with partners, as I said. So yeah, this is very cool moment actually to stop and to think about this, how we are delivering those things.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's great what you guys are doing right now in terms of gathering this, not even testimonials, but like, let's say having this research about what would the EPs want on exchange, what they would miss, what was great, and having this like overall understanding on how to organize your exchanges better. Because again, everyone's story is gonna be different. Everyone also have different expectations. Some people would like to be led, some people prefer to be left alone and deal with their own things, and so on. It's a great thing for inspiration, like how great exchange is, honestly, because I believe that most of the people who went on exchange with AIESEC, they had great experiences, no matter the challenges, the difficulties and lack of support. They for sure got something out of it. So that's a great inspiration as well, to understand like we're doing such cool things in here, right? But other things, it's also to be better, and like as there's this like strive for excellence and so on. It's a great tool for that as well. Yeah.
Okay, as you already said, you spent in AIESEC like quite a long time. And what, on the other hand, I wanted to ask you is, what was the thing that made you stay in AIESEC for so long? So what was the thing that motivated you?
I got very much involved and committed in AIESEC. I think there's a lot of factors why I kept on going for every other experience. I would start with the fact that I didn't join AIESEC because I wanted to. It's because I was kind of forced into it. Because my cousin, she told me, and I have to tell you, I was not the most assertive person in the world, meaning that I couldn't say no to anything. So when she told me like, I'm in AIESEC, you should join as well, then I was okay. She never asked if I wanted to or like if I'm qualified even. She was like, it's gonna be great for you, you have to apply. And I'm like, okay. So I applied, and then she quit from AIESEC, and I was very disappointed because I was left alone. And then I started really liking it. I started simply doing things like meeting people. I learned English, which I didn't speak before as well. I started discovering that I like, organizing projects. I like doing the conferences. I like the idea of AIESEC itself. I've had great leaders. Like I've had in AIESEC, my team leaders and people around me. I was extremely lucky having this kind of people around me. So whoever is listening, shout out to all my homies from AIESEC. But I'm still in touch with my first team leader, Kasia. She as well forced me to apply for a team leader position. She told me if I didn't apply, she would fire me, which I had no idea. She has no influence on, she couldn't fire me from AIESEC. But she said, you don't apply, I'm gonna fire you. And I'm like, okay, I will apply, but I don't. So I sent my application in Microsoft Word document. So that was very, also, everyone's doing these beautiful applications, like all the effects and graphics and PDFs. And I just sent it in Microsoft Word because I didn't know you have to do it differently, because I didn't know people were like pushing me to do things, and I think it was great. I'm not encouraging anyone to push people to do things they don't want to do. I just needed this encouragement, or like this, and like people to tell me like, I believe in you, you can do this. And this helped me a lot, because I started believing in myself more as well, and I started realizing that not even I like doing these things, that I'm really doing something great, and I feel great doing it. Like I organized this conference for 200 people for Katowice and Wrocław, and I have no idea how it happened, but it just went great. And then I had my team, and there's been a lot of good points, bad points, many things that I realize that with every single experience, I'm learning more about myself. I'm getting to know great people. Like I loved LC Katowice and the culture we had there. I would hang out with them all the time, and they were just great. And then with my MC PRYZMAT, of course, it was a great experience. And then afterwards, I applied to MC United States for the first time when I was in MC Poland, and I didn't get it. And that was because I've always wanted to go to New York. That was my like ultimate, maybe not life goal, but I was like, I really want to do it, and AIESEC can help me with that. Like I can just go there and live for 1 year, right? That's great. I should do that. I mean, and I'm not. I felt bad a little bit at the beginning, because I felt that my motivation might not be that pure. Like maybe I should strive for some like great, whatever, inspiring things. But I just wanted to be in New York, honestly. And I think that's also important to understand, at least that's how I think, that your motivation is your motivation. So no one is allowed to judge it. Like if it keeps you going, and if it keeps you doing great things or whatever, it keeps you like being committed and engaged and giving 100% of yourself, then no matter what this motivation is, if you're not hurting anyone, of course, then you should just, keep with it. But then when I didn't get the US, I was like, I'm not done with AIESEC. I like it. There's still a lot of opportunities I can use from, like selfish, not selfish. Like you are here in the organization to learn, to get to know people, to change yourself, and so on. And I felt being in MC Poland that it's great, but I'm still not done in here. Like I still can both contribute and get more from AIESEC. So I applied for Italy. And that's been another great year. Like I've been so lucky with my experiences. I just had the best teams and the best people, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been a lot as well. Like I'm not gonna say that, like, I know living conditions are great if you're in MC, or I don't know, your salary is something that you can like, show off and, buy a lot of things. And no, I mean, but it's not important. I mean, after all of this time, the most important is that we somehow got through it, and we have such great memories. And I learned a lot, and maybe it's not specific at all, but it's fine. Like I know I learned a lot, and everyone's getting different things from AIESEC. And then I applied for MC US when I was in Italy, because as I said, that was my goal, to get to New York. But then of course I didn't get it for the second time. I was very mad, honestly. I was super sad. I'm usually a happy person. I was really sad. That was very bad. But then I was like, okay, now it's time. I'm gonna be an adult. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna, I don't know, do something with life. I was, 23 or something. So now is the time. But then something happened. I don't know. It's like a lucky, not lucky situation, that the person who was in MC in the US, this person didn't get the visa. So they reopened the application for one position, and of course I applied third time, because like I'm going now. Like I don't care. They might think I'm like a freak, or like I'm too much, and I don't know. But I mean, it's my last chance, and this is the moment when I get it. It cost me so much stress, but it was so much worth it, because I spent a beautiful year in my favorite city in the world with great people and great experiences. So AIESEC gives a lot of opportunities, and there are so different opportunities based on what you want. Like I still think that maybe there's many things I didn't discover in AIESEC I could. Maybe I didn't go for, I don't know, some conferences, or I don't know, like I think I mentioned it at the conference as well. Like you give a lot, and this is how you get a lot as well. I think it's super like cheesy and simple, but the more you give, the more you get. Simple as that. And AIESEC provides a variety of different learning or experiences that you could get, so you can adjust it towards yourself, or you can create it on your own, or you can be just like me and just let the things happen. And they happen. I mean, it's not like I didn't work. I worked a lot, honestly. I put a lot of effort. It's like 100%, of course. It's just somehow things turned out amazingly with all the challenges. But it's also what I also want to mention, it's like a last thing, it's also about the attitude everyone has. It's something that my LCP taught me, and I think I also mentioned it during the conference, that it's not like I cannot just wait for things to happen to me. It's about how I approach things. I don't know how to explain it very well, but it's like, it's gonna be very difficult, it's gonna be very hard, you're gonna be lack of your passion and engagement, and there's gonna be a lot of people judging what you do, and your family not being satisfied because you could be getting a real job. And AIESEC might not provide you with anything, honestly. It might not change you at all. It might not give you a great friendships, because mostly it's about how you approach it, you know? And it's with everything with life, like with jobs, with relationships.
But I think it's very current, like in current times when we actually press stop button in AIESEC. It's all about our approach. Like, we can simply sit and cry and think about, oh my God, like, world is closed, so exchanges are also closed, so we are closed. But we can approach it like, stop for a while and think about it like it will end at some point, and people would like to go out, would love to go on exchange because they're missing it, missing traveling, missing discovering places. So it's all about approach, as you said. So I don't think it's cheesy. It's like, it's simple, but very often we complicate things in life.
Exactly. And one more thing is that I think that it's also okay if, like, you know, it's gonna be, as I mentioned, it is, and it's gonna be very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be, like, I remember so many times I wanted to quit, or I hated something. I had like this, you know, crying moments, or like I hated everyone. I like going for a conference. There were times when I would just, like, you know, I really don't want to go to conference. I don't. It's okay as well, like, to have these times, and it's not always gonna be like butterflies and rainbows. But at the end, honestly, right now, I don't really remember those bad moments, as they are not as important as the great things I got out of it, and the relationships and friendships, skills as well. I think that, and the attitude to, like, approach towards life, I would say.
Okay, it's already been a long conversation, and we tackled a lot of topics, and I really loved it, and I think our listeners will also love it. I hope that you are still with us, guys. Like, the last thing I wanted to just ask you is simply if you have any kind of message towards our entity right now.
So I would say to the AIESECers, just hang on in there and keep doing what you're doing, and keep trying to find ways on how to change yourself and help others and support each other and have a lot of fun. And one last thing that I have to say, because I wouldn't be myself if I didn't say it, it's, if you want to be happy, be. Simple as that.
Yeah. Thank you, Ola, for this conversation. It was really, really good. And thank you for everyone who listened to us. Let us know in the comments if you liked it. And if you want to contact Ola, I will put her contact below this podcast. You can approach her with any questions. She's very open to answer to them. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you, Aga, for organizing it. It's been great. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, talk to me.
Thank you.